Have you ever wondered why sometimes a man's desire ignites suddenly, almost out of nowhere, like a spark from something so subtle you barely notice it? It's not always about what's obvious or loud. In fact, some of the most powerful triggers of a man's lust are hidden in the small, almost invisible things a woman does. Today, I'm going to reveal 5 of those hidden moves that light that fire in a man's mind and heart, moves you might not even realize. Confidence is one of those things everyone talks about, but very few truly understand how it works in the context of attraction, especially when it comes to the subtle signals women send. Most people assume confidence means being loud, outspoken, or overly bold. But the truth is, the kind of confidence that really triggers a man's lust is far more nuanced and understated. It's not about dominating a room or trying to prove something. Instead, it's the quiet assurance that comes from knowing your worth and not needing external validation to feel good about yourself. You see, men are wired to respond deeply to confidence because it tells them a lot without a word being said. When a woman walks into a room with her head held high but isn't desperately seeking attention, that unspoken self-possession becomes magnetic. It's like she's sending a message: I'm comfortable in my skin, and I'm not here to chase anyone. That alone creates a spark of desire because it breaks the usual pattern of chasing and being chased. This kind of subtle confidence is shown in the way a woman holds herself. It's in the way she stands with relaxed shoulders rather than tension, in the calm steadiness of her gaze that meets his eyes without flinching or looking away too quickly. It's not about staring him down, but about holding eye contact just long enough to create that electric charge, leaving him wanting more. Men pick up on these tiny cues because they're a sign of emotional stability and strength, qualities that instinctively attract them on a deeper level. Interestingly, confidence like this also shows in how a woman handles silence. There's a difference between filling every moment with chatter because you're nervous or eager to impress, and being comfortable with a quiet pause. When a woman can sit calmly in silence without feeling the need to fill it, it creates a space that invites curiosity and draws a man in. It's a powerful nonverbal way of saying, I'm secure enough in who I am that I don't have to entertain you all the time. And men find that incredibly alluring because it's rare and refreshing. Another important aspect is how a woman interacts with herself in front of others. The way she treats her own flaws, her body language when she makes a mistake, or how she responds to teasing. These all speak volumes about her confidence. If she can laugh at herself or brush off awkward moments without panic or self-deprecation, it sends a signal that she's emotionally resilient. That kind of strength is not only attractive, but also makes men want to step up and be around her more because she doesn't rely on them to prop her up emotionally. This subtle confidence also shows in boundaries. A woman who knows her limits and isn't afraid to say no or walk away without guilt radiates an energy that's incredibly tempting. It tells a man that she's not desperate for his approval or attention, and that she values herself enough to only engage on her terms. This pushes a man's desire into a different gear because it challenges him to earn her interest rather than expecting it handed to him. And when desire comes from challenge and respect, it tends to be much stronger and more lasting. Men are naturally drawn to women who carry this kind of confidence because it taps into their primal need to protect, pursue, and connect with someone who's stable and self-assured. It's different from the superficial kind of attraction based solely on appearance or loud personality. It's about emotional depth and strength that underlies every move she makes. It's like she's saying, with every step, I'm someone who knows her value, and I don't need you to define me. That energy triggers something primal in men, awakening their lust, because it promises a connection that's equal parts thrilling and grounded. So when women understand this subtle form of confidence, they tap into a powerful force that goes beyond the obvious. It's not about trying too hard or showing off. It's about embodying a quiet, steady belief in oneself that makes men want to come closer, want to know more, and ultimately want to pursue. This kind of confidence is like a magnetic field around her, pulling in desire without a single word needing to be spoken. And that is what truly triggers a man's lust in the deepest, most genuine way. There's something undeniably powerful about playfulness in the early stages of attraction, but it's not just about being silly or joking around. What really triggers a man's lust is a kind of playfulness that's unpredictable, a little bit mysterious, and completely genuine. When a woman shows this kind of energy, it flips the whole dynamic, from being routine or predictable into something exciting and alive. Men are wired to chase what challenges them, what keeps them guessing, and what feels like a puzzle they want to solve. That's exactly why this playful unpredictability creates such intense desire. Think about it this way. When interactions become too predictable, they lose their spark. If a woman reacts the same way every time, or if the conversation feels rehearsed, it's easy for a man's interest to fade because there's no surprise, no sense of adventure. But when she injects a little spontaneity, whether it's a teasing comment out of nowhere, a playful smirk, or changing the tone of the conversation unexpectedly, it creates this delicious tension. Suddenly, he's not just attracted to her physically, but to the dynamic between them. He's engaged mentally and emotionally because he's trying to keep up, trying to understand her, and that process creates lust. Unpredictable playfulness is also about control. It's not about being manipulative or playing games in a negative way, but about owning your energy and having fun with it. A woman who knows how to tease lightly, who knows when to pull back and when to lean in, communicates that she's in charge of the interaction without coming across as desperate or needy. That balance is intoxicating because it mirrors the natural dance of attraction, push and pull, give and take. Men find themselves drawn in because this dance makes them feel alive, challenged, and deeply interested. Another important piece of this is authenticity. Playfulness that feels forced or rehearsed doesn't have the same effect. Men are incredibly intuitive, and they pick up on when a woman is being genuine versus when she's trying too hard. Real, unpredictable playfulness comes from a place of comfort and joy in one's own skin. It's a reflection of freedom, not a performance. When a woman can laugh at herself, throw in a surprising comment, or switch from serious to light-hearted naturally, it creates an emotional roller coaster that keeps a man hooked. It's thrilling because it feels spontaneous, alive, and real. This unpredictability also works because it taps into a man's primal instincts. On a subconscious level, men are wired to respond to challenges, to solve puzzles, and to pursue what seems just out of reach. When a woman's playful energy keeps shifting, it activates that part of his brain that's wired for pursuit and conquest. Instead of feeling like the prize is easy to win, he feels like he's on an adventure trying to unlock different layers of her personality. And that journey, that chase, fuels lust far more powerfully than simple physical attraction ever could. Interestingly, this kind of playfulness also builds emotional intimacy without the need for heavy conversations right away. When a woman teases a man lightly or surprises him with a playful comment, it creates shared moments that feel personal and unique. Those moments build connection and chemistry because they're different from everyday interactions. They make him feel like he's entering a world that's a little mysterious, a little exciting, and definitely worth exploring further. There's also an element of vulnerability in genuine playfulness. To be playful and spontaneous means being willing to show parts of yourself that aren't polished or perfect. It means risking a little embarrassment or laughter at yourself, which paradoxically makes a woman more attractive. That willingness to be open and unguarded sends a signal that she trusts herself enough to be real, and men find that deeply compelling. It's a kind of confidence wrapped in lightheartedness that makes desire flare up because it's rare and refreshing. What's crucial here is that this playfulness isn't about mind games or manipulation. It's about creating a dynamic where both people feel alive and engaged. When a woman taps into this energy, she's inviting a man to meet her in a space that's fun, unpredictable, and exciting. That invitation is incredibly seductive because it promises more than just physical connection. It promises a mental and emotional adventure that men crave on a deeper level. So, unpredictable playfulness is a hidden trigger for a man's lust because it keeps the interaction fresh. makes him feel challenged and creates an emotional connection wrapped in excitement. It's the energy that turns simple attraction into a powerful, magnetic pull that's hard to resist. When a woman embraces this playful unpredictability authentically, she awakens a man's desire in a way that's far more intense and lasting than anything purely physical could. One of the most overlooked yet powerful triggers for a man's lust is the way a woman expresses appreciation, but not in the way people usually think. It's not about showering compliments in hopes of getting something back, and it's definitely not about being needy or desperate for validation. Instead, what really ignites desire is genuine appreciation that comes from a place of confidence and emotional security. When a woman shows real interest and gives heartfelt compliments without any agenda, it creates an entirely different kind of connection that's both rare and magnetic. Most people assume that men only respond to physical attraction or bold moves, but the truth is deeper than that. Men want to feel seen, truly seen, not just as an object of desire, but as a person. When a woman appreciates something about him sincerely, whether it's his sense of humor, the way he handles a situation, or even small everyday things like how he dresses or the way he listens, it taps into a man's need to be recognized beyond the surface level. That recognition makes him feel important and valued, and that feeling stirs up desire in a way that's more meaningful and lasting. What's critical here is that this appreciation is never tied to neediness. There's a huge difference between saying, "I like you because you make me feel good," and saying, "I like you because I genuinely see and admire who you are." The first comes from a place of dependency, where a woman relies on his attention to fill a void inside herself. The second comes from a place of abundance, where she's secure in herself and freely offers her admiration without expecting anything in return. Men are instinctively attracted to this kind of generosity because it signals emotional maturity and strength. When appreciation is authentic, it feels effortless and natural, not forced or calculated. A man can sense when a compliment is genuine versus when it's given just to gain favor. And nothing kills desire faster than feeling like a woman is trying to manipulate or control the situation with empty flattery. But when she expresses honest admiration, it lights up a man's ego in a way that feels good and true, not cheap or transactional. That feeling makes him want to be around her more, to live up to the admiration she's given, and to build something deeper. There's also something incredibly attractive about a woman who can appreciate a man's efforts without losing herself in the process. She notices the little things he does, celebrates his successes, and encourages his growth, all while maintaining her own sense of self. This balance shows that she's interested in him, not because she needs him, but because she genuinely values who he is. That kind of interest invites a man to open up emotionally and be vulnerable, which in turn strengthens the sexual tension between them. Another important aspect is how genuine appreciation shifts the power dynamic in a subtle but significant way. When a woman appreciates without neediness, she's showing that she has high standards, but also an open heart. She's not easily impressed or won over by empty gestures, but she's willing to recognize and celebrate true qualities. This creates a dynamic where a man feels challenged to rise to those standards, to be his best self, not out of pressure or obligation, but out of desire to earn that kind of admiration. It's a powerful motivator that makes attraction feel like a shared journey rather than a one-sided pursuit. On a deeper level, genuine appreciation feeds into a man's sense of purpose and identity. Men often tie their sense of worth to what they provide or how they're perceived. When a woman acknowledges the real value he brings, not just superficially, but in ways that matter to him, it reassures him that he's worthwhile beyond just his looks or status. That reassurance fuels his desire because it connects lust to emotional validation. It's no longer just about physical chemistry, it becomes about wanting to connect on a level that feels affirming and respectful. What's beautiful about this dynamic is that it's a two-way street. When a woman gives genuine appreciation, it encourages a man to reciprocate with his own vulnerability and admiration. It opens the door to deeper communication, trust, and connection, which naturally heightens sexual desire. This cycle of authentic appreciation creates a magnetic pull that's sustainable because it's rooted in real emotional connection, not just surface-level attraction. In essence, genuine appreciation is a hidden language of desire that many overlook. It's not about flattering to get, but about giving freely from a place of inner security. When a woman masters this, she triggers a man's lust by making him feel truly seen, valued, and inspired to be more. That kind of connection goes far beyond the physical and taps into the heart of what makes attraction powerful and lasting. When it comes to attraction, one of the most powerful yet often misunderstood things a woman can do is to set boundaries. Not in a rigid or harsh way, but in a manner that is firm, clear, and respectful. This balance between strength and flexibility creates an aura of self-respect that is incredibly magnetic to men. It sends a strong message: I know what I want, I value myself, and I won't settle for less. This kind of quiet confidence in her standards triggers a man's desire in a deep, primal way because it challenges him to earn her interest, rather than expecting it to be handed over without effort. What makes boundaries so powerful is that they define the space a woman occupies emotionally and physically, and men instinctively respond to that. When a woman is unclear or vague about what she will or won't accept, it creates confusion and often leads to less respect. But when she communicates her limits clearly, whether it's about how she wants to be treated, how much time she invests, or what kind of behavior she will tolerate, it establishes a kind of sacred ground. Men feel drawn to that because it shows she respects herself, and in turn, he feels challenged to meet that level of respect. It's important to understand that boundaries aren't about building walls or pushing people away. Instead, they're about creating a safe, defined space where authentic connection can happen. A woman who sets clear boundaries without being aggressive invites a man to approach her on her terms, which ignites his pursuit. That pursuit becomes more than just physical. It becomes about proving himself worthy of her time and energy. And when a man is in that mindset, lust isn't just about the moment. It's tied to admiration and respect. What's fascinating is that boundaries like these often come across in small, everyday actions more than big declarations. It might be as simple as politely but firmly saying no to plans that don't feel right, or choosing to walk away from conversations that aren't respectful. It could be about how she manages her phone during dates, refusing to be distracted or treated as an option. These little decisions show a man that she's not desperate or available at his beck and call. Instead, she's someone who values herself highly and expects others to do the same. That kind of energy creates desire because it signals that she's not just another person to be won over easily. Another subtle way boundaries work is in the emotional space a woman creates. When she doesn't overshare too soon or rush into intimacy, she maintains an element of mystery that keeps a man intrigued. By pacing how much she reveals emotionally, she shows that she's cautious about who she lets in. This caution isn't coldness, it's self-protection and self-awareness. Men find this incredibly attractive because it tells them that she's selective and that gaining her trust is a prize worth working for. Boundaries also protect a woman's self-esteem and prevent her from falling into patterns of neediness or desperation, two things that can kill attraction quickly. When a woman knows her worth and enforces her limits without guilt, she maintains her power in the relationship. This power doesn't come from control or manipulation, but from self-respect. Men are naturally drawn to women who aren't afraid to walk away or say no, because it shows emotional strength, makes him want to step up, to show his best self, and to keep earning her trust and attention. There's also a dynamic here that's often overlooked. When a woman has clear boundaries, it creates safety for a man to be himself. Because she's not constantly questioning or bending to accommodate his every whim, he feels less pressure and more freedom. That freedom fuels his confidence and desire because he knows the rules of the game and respects the structure she's created. It makes the connection more genuine and exciting. What's critical is that boundaries don't mean being inflexible or closed off. A woman who can hold her limits while remaining warm and approachable sends a signal that she's both strong and kind, qualities that men find irresistible. This blend of firmness and softness creates a magnetic pull that says, I'm not easily won, but if you show me respect and consistency, I'm here. That tension between challenge and availability keeps a man engaged and constantly wanting more. This kind of boundary setting is especially powerful because it flips the typical dynamic on its head. Instead of a woman chasing or compromising, she's inviting a man to prove himself worthy of her. This invitation awakens a man's protective instincts and his natural desire to earn something valuable. Lust, in this context, becomes wrapped up in admiration and respect rather than just physical attraction. Ultimately, clear but flexible boundaries give a woman the power to create the kind of connection that's deeply desired and hard to forget. They build a foundation where lust isn't fleeting or superficial, but rooted in a man's genuine respect and appreciation for who she is and what she stands for. And that is an incredibly potent kind of attraction. One of the most subtle yet powerful things a woman can do to trigger a man's lust is mastering the art of suggestion rather than full exposure. This is less about what she shows outright and more about what she implies, what she hints at, and what she leaves to the imagination. Men are wired to be drawn in by mystery and curiosity. When everything is laid bare too quickly, the intrigue can vanish. But when a woman reveals herself slowly, piece by piece, it creates a magnetic pull that keeps a man engaged on multiple levels, physically, emotionally, and mentally. The power of suggestion lies in its ability to activate a man's imagination. When a woman doesn't reveal every detail about herself all at once, it invites him to fill in the gaps with his own fantasies and desires. That mental involvement is key because it makes desire more personal and compelling. It's not just about the physical reality of who she is, but about the story he builds in his mind. That story, fueled by mystery and anticipation, intensifies lust and keeps it alive much longer than straightforward exposure ever could. This is why dressing with a sense of subtlety can be so effective. It's not about revealing as much skin as possible, but about what's suggested by what's covered or hinted at. A glimpse of skin here, a glimpse of a smile there, a look that lingers just a moment longer. These tiny details send powerful signals. They say there's more to discover. And that promise is incredibly seductive. It's like a slow dance rather than a sprint, where anticipation builds with every step, keeping the man hooked and wanting more. The art of suggestion isn't just about appearance. It's also about how a woman communicates verbally and emotionally. When she shares parts of her story, her feelings, or her thoughts gradually, she creates a sense of intrigue. Instead of unloading everything all at once, she lets a man discover new layers of her personality over time. That process builds emotional tension and connection, making the physical desire deeper and more meaningful. Men love to feel like they're earning the right to know her more intimately, and that slow reveal creates a powerful pull. Another layer to this is how a woman uses body language and tone to suggest rather than state outright. A look that holds a little secret, a soft smile that hints at something unspoken, or a playful pause that leaves a question hanging in the air. All of these nonverbal cues work like magnets. They invite a man to lean in closer, to pay more attention, and to invest emotionally in the interaction. This dance of suggestion is far more compelling than bluntness because it involves him actively engaging his curiosity and desire. There's also an emotional safety that comes with suggestion. When a woman holds back just enough, it creates a space where both can feel the tension and excitement without feeling overwhelmed or rushed. That space is where desire can simmer and grow naturally. It's not about rushing to the end or exposing everything at once, but about savoring the moment and letting attraction deepen gradually. That slow burn is what often leads to the most passionate and lasting connections. Interestingly, suggestion also respects a man's natural instincts to be a seeker and a pursuer. When a woman reveals herself too quickly or too much, it can short-circuit that natural drive. But when she holds back just enough, it encourages him to step up, to pay attention, and to want to explore more. That exploration becomes a game of discovery and excitement, fueling lust in a way that's far more engaging than instant gratification. This idea also applies to the emotional and intellectual sides of attraction. Suggesting your thoughts and feelings rather than fully explaining them invites deeper conversations and curiosity. It encourages a man to ask questions, to listen closely, and to want to know what's beneath the surface. That kind of interaction builds a richer connection and makes the physical attraction stronger because it's tied to emotional intimacy. The art of suggestion over exposure also protects a woman's sense of self. By choosing what to share and when, she maintains control over her story and her boundaries. This control is incredibly attractive because it shows she values herself and her own pace, rather than giving away too much too soon. Men respect and desire women who hold their own power and keep a little mystery alive. Ultimately, suggestion is about playing with desire rather than satisfying it all at once. It's the difference between a slow, tantalizing dance and a rushed sprint to the finish line. When a woman masters this art, she creates a magnetic energy that keeps a man wanting more, thinking about her long after they part ways. It's a powerful way to deepen lust, build emotional connection, and create lasting attraction that goes far beyond the surface. At the end of the day, what truly triggers a man's lust goes far beyond just looks or obvious signals. It's the subtle hidden things, a woman's unpredictable playfulness that keeps him on his toes, the genuine appreciation that comes from confidence rather than neediness, the clear yet flexible boundaries that command respect, and the art of suggestion that ignites his imagination. That together create a powerful magnetic energy. These are the layers beneath the surface that awaken desire in a way that feels real, lasting, and deeply engaging. When a woman embraces these qualities authentically, she doesn't just attract a man's attention, she stirs his curiosity, admiration, and passion all at once. And that's the kind of attraction that transforms simple lust into something unforgettable.